Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Casters Lounge. We've got some spicy material for you, and maybe some filler as well. You never know with the off-season content, but we are definitely going to talk about something today, and we may talk about, you know, maybe more than just something. We do have some people on to talk about those things. We have Matt, who seems to be more and more just a common occurrence here on the podcast. How are you, Matt?
3 in a row. Three in a row.
Yeah, maybe. Isn't it 4?
Could be, actually.
Yeah, because obviously 3 in a row because of the big one. As we.
How the fuck does he know that?
What?
ESN just a hobby, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
Someone be leaking.
Someone be leaking.
I mean, it wasn't that,
Tweeted that.
He's,
in that message as well,
he's referring to Twitch chat, I think, which is great.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, I'm referring to Twitch
Dan
chat.
Chan, you're a Twitch man. Hello. I tried to link it in some way. Please, just
I'm really not. The only Twitch I really use is when I'm casting. Like, I never stream. That shit's boring.
All right, cool. Ali is in the top left, making his debut. Not a caster, not affiliated with ESN. Whoa, debatable. How are you doing?
I'm good. We just don't comment on the debatableness of what you just said.
The
You went
motions
from
and such.
Vanix head to toe.
Oh my god, I didn't even realise.
I
Jesus.
think the camera. I think you're sitting in front of a certain shirt as well.
Oh, that's my Vanix jersey. What the hell, guys? How
Oh,
did
that's
that
a
get there?
bandit jersey. I've seen that before.
No, it's not. It says Vanix across it, Matt.
All right. Well, we're all here, and Tricky, as you can see, the aliases is also here because we are going to be talking a little bit about sort of production past and future. Obviously, didn't have one this season, sadly enough, despite it still having, quite a good final, some would say. So I think we're just going to start off with sort of talking about the previous live production finals. Dan Chan was there in that, Matt was there in that, Ali was there in that. Just sort of, I wasn't, so I don't.
You're alone. So
I
be
don't.
quiet.
I don't even know what to ask, to be honest. What happened?
Well,
We put on a live production.
yeah.
And it went well.
It did go well, apart from the
Yeah.
semi-final, but not our fault.
And the part where I'm on screen telling Dom that he has a massive fucking head.
Yeah, but at least you don't hear that. It was silent, so
That would have made the clip 10 times better.
yeah,
I definitely think.
definitely would have been more content, but maybe not good for the brand.
Yeah.
Probably.
But I mean, am I good for the brand? Does it really matter at this point? But yeah.
You're definitely not. If sort of like the private conversations in the casters lounge, the actual one, not this stream.
Well, it's like hold on, I want to bring it's like Skillmatics when they were mad, they were like, "Who's your
Always.
owner?" And I was like, "Okay, sure, I'll send you over the email." And I sent him the email, and it was my email. I was like, "If you really want to complain to the owner, you gotta go through me, kinda. Don't think I'm gonna sack myself, do I?"
Just looking in a mirror, you're fired.
Wouldn't cost too much, would it, to sack yourself? Not worth that much.
Keep talking, buddy.
Jesus Christ, Promise.
Right. Any sort of anecdotes you guys have? Because obviously I brought up the fact we were gonna talk a little bit about live production in sort of season 5 and so on. Anything that came to mind immediately when I sort of asked that question?
When is Strommers coming to live production?
Well, season 7, some say, but
People
Matt
want
says
Strommers.
every time.
Oh, I said season 7, but if no one realised, if you look outside, that there's not many people. Well, in the UK, there is quite a few people walking around, but we're kind of in a different time to where when I said for season 7 we're doing a live prod to where we are now.
Well, yeah, but depends on how it all works out.
Question from Phantom's Ignite. For real though, do you guys profit of VSN? Not really. I mean, all our money that we profit goes straight back into ESN for prize pools and payments for live production, and well, this season it was for graphics. So not really at the
But we
minute.
are self-sustainable at least.
Yeah, kind of. Just kills me at the end of the week.
Wow, he's just taking a question straight out of Twitch chat.
Well, I
Just
thought
like
we
that.
never really
I think you're on
interact
the
with the chat and
podcast too
stuff.
much. You're getting too used to this, Matt.
Sorry, am I stealing your show, buddy? Sorry, carry on. I won't scratch your ego anymore.
Dan Chan, I think I talked to Dom and Ant on the first episode of the Casters Lounge way back about sort of their experience, because that was right after. But I'm guessing it was still quite memorable experience. Weeks and months after. Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's probably one of the best put together sort of LAN. Well, not it wasn't a LAN event, but because obviously the teams weren't there. But it's probably one of the better productions I've been a part of. It was like people won't have known this, but the Ali and the rest of the production guys from Vanix, they did a lot of work in terms of like just the amount of time they spent getting things right. Like I went
Thank
down
you.
there a couple weeks before the actual event just to help with, well, not to help with bits, but to like sort of get casters bits set up and make sure everything was all right for that. And the amount of work they were putting in, they were there like, I don't want to say every day, but like every few days they were in that room probably for a few hours. I think.
We
Yeah.
carry on.
But from my point of view, they were putting in a lot of work, and it was really high quality work as well. It was obviously you saw the production in the end. Of course, we missed the semi-finals because of the Portuguese LAN event rescheduling things, but it was a really sort of. I don't think there was any issues with the actual production, really. I mean, not apart from Matt appearing on the screen for 5 seconds. But yeah, I mean, like it can't fault it really. It was like even just like the term from my point of view of like making sure that it was sort of comfortable for me with like volume levels, all that stuff, the setup, the cameras, all that. It was perfect in many ways. So all props to them for that.
Do you want to respond to the ego boost, Ali?
Honestly, it is a big ego boost because it's the first live production we've ever done as a team, and this is the feedback we get. So we did grind a lot for it. In that, honestly, we can't even put Matt down because Matt was also a part of the production team. He was doing the on-screen graphics, updating them constantly and pushing them to the vision mixer so we could put them out. So like all of us just had to get in there as much as we could and just constantly grind and make sure nothing was going to go wrong, because believe it or not, there have been quite a few events running that room, but quite a few of them have had issues, but they weren't as obviously. It wasn't like a actual company like ESN approaching them. It was more student run events, so we had to make sure it ran well, and it did, and we're happy with the outcome.
Obviously, again, like Matt mentioned, season 7, even having like live production finals may not even be like guaranteed, just like with season 6. But any plans to expand upon the solid foundations, Ali?
Yeah, first most important thing is to get you down.
Good.
He set
Happy.
himself up for that question.
Yeah,
He knew
I
what
did.
the answer was before he even asked it.
People want strawberries. No, about
I
that.
heard it.
I think all we need is we just need an actual LAN final with the teams there.
I think I do still have a screen cap of just Twitch chat on finals day, Matt. Season 5 finals day. I think a few people wanted some Swedes flown out.
Sorry, I was too busy on focusing on doing my work on that day, not looking at Twitch chat. So sorry if I missed that.
Surely a couple Vanix people were just seeing all the Stromis miss. I mean, we did have Dan, Ant, and Dom, but yeah, could have done better.
I was just a young hatchling at that point. First season of ESN.
Yeah, but I mean, it felt like several in that you did like 500 games. So casting.
Yeah.
I did all of them 3 times.
I think, yeah, honestly, like you were quite a bit. Like, I think Matt was sort of counting how many casts people had done that season, and
I
it was like,
still have it somewhere.
yeah, every time it was like, every time he sort of like brought it up to me, I was like, yeah, well, I'm behind Dansha, but that's sort of a given, you know, just because Dansha, he's just he's ahead, yeah, whatever.
It got to the point where it was like you were telling me not to cast games.
Yeah. Please
Like,
stop.
because the thing is as well, like if a game wasn't casted, it meant that Matt didn't have to do work and didn't have to
Yeah,
put
not
on
gonna lie,
the
you made my life a living hell that season.
like the amount of graphics he had to do because of me was a little silly. But then I was AFK in the next season, so I made up for it.
Yeah, well, the problem as well was that in season 5 we still had all the games on the main channel, right? It was only in season 6 we started doing sort of like only on certain stream days, I think.
Yeah.
And so like obviously when Grev did a bunch of like earlier in the season of season 6, he did a couple games on his channel. That, you know, not really that much work had to be put into that, which is a good system. One will sort of be integrating into season 7, and that seems what am I saying? Challenger division will only be streamed to sort of those sort of licensed third party people like us. But only Champions Division games will be on the main channel, which I think is a good solution. Splits up sort of you know, splits up the perception of both divisions. I think we'll probably just talk about those divisions in season 7 in general. We didn't really talk about it enough last time in sort of like very specific terms with the teams involved. Anything else about sort of the live production finals, both season 5 or season 7, or anything in the future you guys want to bring up first?
I mean, if COVID stops in its tracks, maybe we'll come back for the season. You know.
That's all hope so.
Yeah, but where, Ali? Where? That's the real question.
Matt, you can't leak stuff, okay? That's behind the scenes. Come on.
No, yeah. I
But we are
mean,
working on it.
we want to be back. I think for this season, if we do manage to get back, it probably will be in Stoke again. Where the one issue is me and Jake not being students at Staffs anymore, so we're gonna kind of have to rely on travel a bit more and more focus time on getting the production team in at days when me and Jake are both up there as well. Because last for season 5, all we did was literally we just message someone the next morning like, we're going in we got the key to go into the room today. Let's just go in and mess around for a few hours. I mean, we did that for like 5 weeks. We like literally. I can't even remember how many times we went in on the last week, but I remember that
Yeah.
Friday being very, very long.
And that wouldn't really be the case this season either, right? Because it's sort of like already done most of the things in a way.
Yeah, I think everyone's confident with everyone's roles to what they did.
Yeah.
Like on the actual day, like no one really struggled doing anything. I mean, the only thing I actually struggled on was me doing the graphics because, well, we had the whole mishap with Face It, and that made me late doing the graphics. I think that was the only thing of a role
Yeah,
side of things that was slow.
that face it thing was actually like a big issue, but it wasn't even an issue. Like it's
Yeah.
because it was basically we were testing that the spectator PC could connect to the Face It servers. So so I think it was like we tried setting up a 1v1 server on Face It, but then of course they don't have
GOTV.
GOTV on them, which we found out later on. So but we ended up like roping in like 10 players or something.
We
from
did.
Last
Birmingham
minute, literally, yeah.
just to quickly try and join a Face It hub game just to make sure it worked on a 5v5. So yeah.
Yeah, no, not gonna lie, those people came in. I can't even remember who it was in the end, to be honest. There's probably a
I
thing
think there's
somewhere of it.
a
I
few
remember
couple
the
of
Rox there.
Banex players. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
We got
So they
some
came
panic.
in clutch because Face It decided to make my day a lot more stressful for really no reason at all.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
then
I
as
mean,
well,
it worked out.
yeah, as well, there was like if you want to talk about making life harder for people, I mean, Ali shouting "yikes" every 5 seconds.
Okay, no.
Didn't help.
That's an exaggeration, Dan. I did it once. It was because someone made like a really bad play. I remember I was sat there in front of the spec PC, and
Yeah.
I was gonna get ready because I think the game was about to end or something. And I had my finger over the push it talk to come with you casters.
Yeah.
And then I just saw something on the screen. My immediate reaction was just to push the talk and go, yikes. And then I was like, shit, why did I do that? But it didn't throw you guys off. You worked with it. You went with it. You couldn't even tell it happened.
It's a good thing there wasn't a camera on us because I remember that situation. It
Yeah, I
was
remember you looked at me. Yeah.
like yeah, because I'm like we're like halfway through casting like some really like sick clutch or something. It's like I just hear yikes.
Yeah.
I'm like just look over, just like sorry.
Yeah.
It was because the problem was that it's that literally like Ali had been doing that to like Matt, and Matt had been doing it to Ali for like probably the entire weekend. Just
Oh,
off
trust me, it
camera.
was longer than that.
Well, obviously, I was only there for the
It was.
weekend, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was like it was literally all they said to each other for the most part. It was someone would say something, and would just respond, "Yikes!"
Yeah, that was good. I enjoyed that. But then I think it was right after the owner session when Jake and Matt got on stream. So
Yeah.
I kept getting Matt to giving him a big
No,
yikes as he was on
that was
stream.
annoying.
I know
I
it
was
was
trying to
Matt.
read out questions and focus on people like thinking of
Okay,
answers,
this
and
is
all I
being
hear in the
blown.
background
No,
is
no,
like,
no, 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 no.
yikes.
This is being blown out of proportion. You're being dramatic about it now. It wasn't that bad at the time. At the
Yeah,
time, you
okay.
literally just looked at me, laughed. I did it twice, Matt. Okay.
Check back on the VOD. I literally, at one point, you were talking so much, I was midway through a sentence and I just cut off
Yeah.
because I'm looking at you like,
Okay, no.
what was I
Okay,
saying?
my first broadcast as a director, live production, and you got stunted, and I was like, shit, I need to get in here. Push the talk, casters, and you're like, oh, let's talk about casters. I was like, that was good. Jake,
Okay, yeah, no, I'll
and
give you that one.
I
I'll
gave
give
you
you that one.
prompts to go with, and then when they go off, Jake comes to me and he's like, why the fuck did Ali say casters in my ear? And I'm like, I saved Matt. He froze, and I told him what to talk about, and Jake's blaming me for it because he didn't even know what happened.
Yeah, no, I remember that. I give you that. I kind of got confused on what I was talking about.
I gave you an
I mean,
assist.
to be fair though, the casters didn't really segue into a great position because you had like
What, all behind
Yeah.
the camera? So
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
we said, you guys were laughing about right behind us. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I remember that.
Who's your favorite caster?
Yeah,
All
so
of them
everyone
looking,
said
all
it
of
was
their
Matt.
eyes
I remember that.
beaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was some great questions in that owner chat. To be honest, I
Yeah,
enjoyed.
not happening again.
We're gonna need to film that.
We are gonna have to get some tougher questions in. Too many cookie cutter ones. Right, scene 7. Speaking of not doing certain things again, we are doing. We're not talking about the teams that we've already talked about. Obviously, the big one, the scene, episode 7. I think we sort of quickly mentioned because that was after the season 7 reveal and so on, with the 4 first teams announced in Tricked, Blue Jays, Big Academy, Nerd Rage, right? But I don't even think we talked about them that much, to be honest. So we might have to talk about them a bit more, maybe, just to give people sort of a perception of what to expect from the likes of Tricked coming into this season. But also, we didn't talk last week about the teams that have been announced since, because obviously we have 14 teams that are going to be in the league already, pre-announced, and then the 2 other teams, 16 teams in this top division, are going to come from the Champions Division qualifiers. They're going to take place on, is it the 6th of June? Yeah. So this weekend.
6th and 7th and 13th and 14th. 2 qualifiers, £10 entry into both.
If you win one, you're in. If you win the other, you can't play the other if you won. But if you win the second one, you're also in. So 1 spot per qualifier, 2 qualifiers, £10 for both. Everyone's
£5 off if you don't make it into Challenge Division.
Exactly. If you don't make it to Champions, you can pay the £10 for the qualifiers. If you don't make it to Champions from that, then you can still play Challenger for, as you say, £5 off. Right. So we have had quite a few teams. Where do we want to start though? With this Champions Division, do we want to just start with some of the big names maybe? Anything in particular catch your eye?
Well, obviously there's Tricked, isn't there? So I mean, that's going to be an obvious sort of starting point, I think.
MDL team, not an MDL team, but yeah,
they're an advanced team. They're probably going to.
Yeah, but
I feel like that's a.
It's a reference.
It's a precursor.
I forget who it was, but it was a reference to someone, who just sort of like kept spamming just MDL team gonna win, easy win, just give them the prize now. They're not an MDL team, but they are very good. So
yeah, I mean to be fair, I mean they're an advanced. I think they made playoffs of advanced last season as well.
Yeah.
Didn't make it into MDL though, so
not an MDL.
I mean, not MDL. Talk to us in a few months. It might be MDL then, but not at the moment. But yeah, I think obviously they are probably one of the favourites going in. I think Blue Jays as well. They are probably one of the
on the other spectrum if we're talking ESEA, but obviously that's just because they just formed. I think they're 10-0 in Open, and when you sort of get to 10-0 and so on, you always play the other teams that are new or haven't played ESEA before. Typically Portuguese teams that are quite good. So just being 10-0 is quite good, isn't it? But anyone else have any teams that really sort of stick out? Could be challengers for it all.
Cream, Real, Betis.
Just I think we've announced them sort of like 2, 3, 4 days ago, something like that.
Yeah, announced when the Nerd Rage. Yeah, for
exactly.
Place in Nerd Rage because of their roster split from the org. So we got Cream, Real, Betis in.
Yep.
Up the Espanyol.
First Spanish team since season 3. Was it?
Yep, with Cavaliers female team, yeah.
Yep.
I think that is the last Spanish team we had here.
Definitely reaching back out to some regions. It's quite exciting, isn't it, that we're sort of not just reaching back out to some places where we haven't been for a while. We also have quite a few new ones. I don't think we've had to like any Czech teams before in Isuba coming in. We haven't had any Polish teams. I don't think we've had in Dr. Pepper team that we've just announced today.
Yeah, no, we haven't.
It's quite exciting, I think, to sort of branch out a little. Not just, I mean, we do have quite a few in what you'd expect. I think we have like 3 UK teams at this point. But
yeah, there's London, CX, and
Revenge.
Yeah. So I mean, I think London's that team with Link and Crayon, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that could be pretty spicy to watch.
I'm looking out for the London versus CEX for sure. I think that's going to be a pretty spicy matchup.
I think it's good as well that we do have quite a few teams from the same region where it's like everyone's going to be excited to see Blue Jays versus Granite. It's sort of a Bulgarian derby. Cream could play someone Spanish. Who knows?
You nearly just
I almost did.
Nearly dropped the leak.
I think the same applies for the win and escape and so on. So there's obviously those UK ones as well. Quite a few versions of that, and maybe some Danish team comes through the qualifier. Maybe some German team or Vanix, or maybe a Spanish team comes through the qualifiers. Who knows? How high do you rate your chances, by the way, Ali? Obviously, maybe people don't know, but in Champions Division, we have announced I don't think we've announced all the teams that are confirmed for qualifiers, but Vanix are definitely confirmed already. How do you rate your chances seeing some of the other teams involved?
On what scale? What scale am I using?
Qualifiers. Are you going to make it?
In all honesty, with the amount of practice the boys are putting in, I'd say they have a good 9.5 out of 10 chance. Looking at the teams in the group so far, no ego, straight up.
I remember hearing sort of similar sentiments before season 6 and what happened in the season again.
No, but you don't understand, right? Lyrox, the boy came through with a roster
Mm-hmm.
that practices a lot more than any of our other rosters, and they will pop off.
Pop off.
And then hopefully next season we'll have a new secondary roster to announce.
Oh, you want to tell us who that is, Ali?
No.
People
My
just
lips
trying
are
to
sealed.
leak from each other now. Not even me,
Yeah.
only.
I don't know what the hell.
Do we want to? I mean, there are a few more Champions Div teams. Like, I think so many Champions Div teams are exciting already,
Yeah.
but it sort of feels wrong to glance over. But I just think it's sort of like we've got a great lineup already. I just think we need just that final team announced that's sort of on the same level, and then I think we'll be in for a great season. Just sort of the first season in a while where every matchup I feel is just gonna be a lot of fun, because there's maybe they're not all evenly matched, tricked. Obviously, as you mentioned, Dan, maybe a little above. Who am I gonna call out? Revenge. Maybe they're a little above that level, so if they play each other, so someone like that plays each other, then maybe not. But I think there's quite a few matchups that are going to be sort of like just fantastic individual skill, team, just cohesive teams as well. Since we're getting onto quite a good level at this point in our teams, right? The qualifier teams. I think the last announced team was Blink, which I think is honestly the best qualifier team we've had so far. Am I?
Yeah,
am I
the
fair in saying so?
Albanian.
Yeah, and then
Pretty
one
sure they're Albanian.
Hungarian, I think, or Bulgarian.
Yeah, they
or a Hungarian or a
they lost to
Albanian.
Heretics 16-14, I believe it was in.
Mm-hmm.
Was it in One Tap League? No, it wasn't in One Tap. It was in something else. They just lost to 16-14, the new Heretics roster
Yeah.
with the young ESNL prodigy of
Never.
fucking. I was gonna say I forgot his name. Fucking hell. Um, but yeah, I think, and there was another
season 5
Star
Impact
Riders.
MVP.
Movie Star Riders as well. They lost 2-1 to them, so it shows that they're a decent roster.
Hmm.
And I think we did offer them one of the invite spots, but they decided to go for the qualifier route.
Interesting.
Clearly, which I think is actually interesting because, yeah, you can feel confident, but as we
You
saw
do
in the
have to win it.
Portuguese qualifier, we saw in the Portuguese qualifier there was some really good teams that got bashed out.
Yeah,
by
yeah. Oh, yeah. We should probably mention that before we go deeper into our qualifiers. Raphael obviously had a qualifier over the weekend, as he had for season 6 as well. In season 6, I think it was Geek Case who came out of it. No, Equinox came out of it, but there were two invites, or two sort of two spots that came from it. So both Equinox and Geek Case came through that qualifier to join season 6. This time, only one spot was bought, and so only the winner came through. I think all games were best of one, except the final.
Yeah.
And 25 teams, and as you mentioned, like there were like quite a few teams in there that very well could have probably played in Champions Division and done quite well. Scape are the ones that came through, which, if you hear the word Scape, if you hear the organization Scape Esports, based on the rosters they've had and the season performances they've had over the last few seasons, it doesn't really water your mouth, does it? But I know you sort of watched the qual here and there, Matt. Kept up with it at least. Did you see anything from the Scape team?
They honestly, compared to the last season roster, they just look completely different. I mean, the new Scape roster, they went against I think Tropa Suprema was one of the matches I mainly watched, and I mean Tropa Suprema, of course, two first-time ESNL champions in being Stone and Zeppelin.
Classic.
But everyone kind of knows that Tropa Suprema are quite a solid Portuguese team that have experience. This Scape roster is, to my knowledge anyway, not very got a strong foundation in the PT scene just yet. And I mean, they came into it, they took down Tropa Suprema quite easily, went in against Equinox, which, looking at their past performance, isn't saying much, but then you've also got to remember the factor that
Story.
this is an Equinox side with Story in it, who we all kind of saw as a very big backbone to their roster.
Well, yeah,
And
because Equinox came through the last PT qualifier, Raphael qualifier, I mean, with Story. Played one game with him against Regnant, did really well, I thought. 16-13, I think that game finished. They were like neck and neck all the way through. Great. They looked like a great team. And then I think Story left or they dropped them, and then they were not anywhere close to that after that. In the season.
They look lost.
They went 2-3, went out against Sia. And now they have Story again. And they beat out Maiden Tuga, who I think are somewhat established, even though obviously Orglist right now. That team who beat Geek Case. So like it's hard to really, like, if you don't watch, since most of the Portuguese teams play heavily sort of in their own scene and just sort of within Portugal, I guess. It's quite hard to sort of keep up with who's who and who's doing well and who's not. So, I'm still sort of confused as to how Scape are really going to do, but, with the teams we've already mentioned, I think people get at least some grasp that this is not the same Scape as we saw in Season 6, or the one we saw in... Did they play in Season 5? Season 4, at least? I think they played in Season 4.
I think they played in Season 4, yeah. That was as well as the original roster, but they were a bit more, I want to say, committed then. Like, they were actually communicative, whereas in Season 6, not really. I mean, it was kind of hard to get them to... It was kind of hard to get them to schedule their matches, so to say. And I mean, I think that's shown on the Scape guy. There's owner Alex of Scape. He messaged me saying, "Look, we're dropping the team because their communication's just not here." And I mean, look where it's got them. It's got them a solid roster who's now qualified for Champions Division. So fair enough to them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
carry on, Dan.
I was just going to say, from my point of view, it's sort of if you can't sort of fault a team if they've come through the qualifier. They're obviously looking good. They've obviously earned the right to play in the Champions Division. So, I mean, it's not, you can't say, oh, maybe this team should have won. Maybe that team should have won. Well, they should have. They should have won. I mean, they lost, so it's not any fault of Scape. They've done what they needed to do. They've got them through, and I'm sure they'll have some great games in the Champions Division, and I hope they do decently. It'll be nice for the team to get some nice results there.
Yeah, we'll still obviously, even if they don't do well, see some Portuguese quality in that first division for the Win Esports are there for it. And I think we are gonna just, since we brought up qualifiers, already talked a little bit, just move back. Any other teams that are sort of on anyone's radar from qualifiers? Mainly for me, I think UB team are the ones on my radar right now. As for like the other teams, other than what we talked about.
Yeah, I think Uber team, like being ex Obsession Aras, who we only saw in the lockdown event, who kind of just came into it and shocked quite a few people. I mean,
definitely.
Famous 5, Budapest 5, Famous 5, Budapest 5, Project Diversio, teams where everyone was like, one of these three are going to win it. And then, I mean, Obsession Aras, they didn't win it overall, but I mean, they put up a hell of a fight, and I think they did win against one of those three teams. So I think Uber team's a good shout. Blink, of course, we've already mentioned. And I mean, the other teams we're seeing, like Skilled Enough, I've never heard of Skilled Enough. They're a Russian team.
Yeah.
The more Ali keeps wanting my attention for save
Come
Annex,
on,
the more I'm just...
The boys are in the chat. You have to plug them. You gotta say what you were saying when we went on stream, Matt. Come on.
No, I think I'm very interested to see how you lot perform, since last season didn't go very well for you.
I think
completely different roster. Completely
I think
different
Lyrox
roster.
came into the chat just after Ali had sort of praised his team, his own team. So he missed out on the ego boost there.
Oh my god, can I show Lyrox something on stream? 1 sec.
Oh god.
Oh no.
He comes on day one guest, and this is what he does.
He asked before, like, can I leave mid? What happens if I leave during the middle? And he's actually followed through. I'm a bit impressed, to be honest. Right. We've also got Phantom's Ignite. I'm only bringing him up because someone in chat,
Lucy.
Phantom's Ignite, obviously player, asked about them. You know, a bit of a meme that I always, every time, every pod, every cast, I talk very negatively about Phantom's Ignite. Haven't seen this roster because I don't watch shit leagues, but you know, like,
fucking hell.
just we'll see how they do essentially.
Any leagues in particular, or
You know,
is that one for off air? Is that off air?
Redacted, of course, all the leagues. But
No, I want to say about Phantom's Ignite. I mean, we saw the new roster against Red Bloods, who, of course, looked disappointing
Terrible.
from the playoff
Awful.
stage.
Despicable.
But I mean, I'll give it to Phantom's Ignite. They only lost 2-1, and like Lucy said, they then went on and they've recently won a league.
Redacted.
Which was redacted. But I mean, it doesn't matter how low tier that league. I mean, confidence is quite a big thing. Sorry, I'm just getting distracted by what the hell Ali's doing. Is this a new?
No, it's
Oh,
the
he's got
old
Lyrics' jersey.
Part of the reason why he kept Lyrics around was because he'd ordered 5 shirts and had to sort of didn't want to make too big of a loss, so kept that shirt. And,
it was like £125, man. That's it.
But no, back to what I was saying. I think Phantom's Ignite will actually do pretty well. To be fair to them, I don't. Maybe winning is a stretch, but as I was speaking to AJ, the owner, I think that I think they will have. It will be a good test for them, and I think we'll just have to wait and see at this point because it's this weekend. I feel like Stromis has something to say
Nope.
about the Smurf.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, I have not much to say. I was just gonna ask if he gave any good constructive criticism anywhere. But I'm not.
Who, me?
No, AJ. But then I think I mixed him up with someone else. So.
Oh, you're thinking of
some other guy. Yeah, not him. Definitely not him.
No, but
That's
AJ does know about him, and I don't know how. Unless he's just said it as a joke, and it's just weirdly convenient.
It was. Oh, never mind. Yeah, it wasn't him. I mixed him up. Sorry. We're officially hated by. I mean, you know, if I was ever officially gonna hate you, then it would have been a couple months back, to be honest, when it started. But
he's mad that you beat Famous Five, basically. He's still mad about that.
No, I'm not mad about it. I'm just
upset.
I'm upset that I had to sit through that game. Yeah. Me, I think it was Ant as well, had to sit through the worst game of triple overtime I think I've ever seen. Where Phantom's Ignite beat Famous Five. Yeah, I know.
They've got a new roster now.
Same name. Escape, same thing. Just on a worse level in Phantom's Ignite's case.
This is outrageous.
Yeah, I have to play. Yeah, I have to play into the meme, though, don't I?
Yeah. There's only one team that I hate, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder who that is, Dan.
I wonder who that is.
It starts with an S and an M. 2 words.
Skillmatics. He's had to spell it out. Of course, he spelled it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think they've gone even more Swedish. So as the team gets more Swedish, I do feel that it's my duty to hate them more for some reason.
I thought it would be the opposite, but
yeah,
sure.
I know. It's just become a thing where typically, you know.
My chair just made a very weird noise.
I hate Swedes, apparently. So
mine usually wakes and makes weird noises as a bolt falls out, Matt.
I'll have to check after.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
Do you mind if we just go back and talk about Link a little bit more? Because
Definitely.
I've realised partway through that conversation that I've actually casted them not long ago
in
another redacted league.
Cup, even?
A redacted cup, yeah, let's say. In the closed qualifiers for Redacted Cup, as I shake my camera. But yeah, like I mean, they played pretty well. Their first match they played Aves, which is a pretty strong team.
MDL, right?
Yeah, I think
Polish.
so. If not, they're on the same sort of level as Tricked. But yeah, they're like they played pretty well. It was a 2-1 game, and then they ended up like forfeiting out the league, but out the cup. But they made it to I think they went to the lower bracket semi-finals. I think so. They made it a few games in. Obviously, I think Aves was the biggest game they played, and they lost that narrowly 2-1. So
yeah, I think they definitely sort of like I think they weren't they in the lower bracket, but they still sort of like clung on for a while until they were beaten out by like Hard Legion.
Yeah, Aves was their first match. That was the upper bracket. They lost them and then immediately dropped down to lower. They've got a couple more wins, I think, and then knocked out. But yeah, it wasn't. I think actually no, they made it to the lower bracket final against.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, and then got knocked out by I think someone who qualified, like Hard Legion.
Hard Legion did bang them out 2-0 in the lower bracket final, so I'm assuming that was it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think Hard Legion ended up qualifying themselves. So
exactly.
So what you're saying is this Champions Division will be a perfect place for them to kind of like solidify there. Because what I'm hearing a repeating thing is about Blink is that they narrowly lose to these really good teams. So maybe this is the right type of stepping stone for them to be a bit more consistent in the fact that they can beat some top teams and then make it push further into the MDL type of stature.
Yeah, because I think
apart from Hard Legion who did bang them out, like it was just clean cut 2-0. But yeah, apart from that, it's been pretty decent.
Yeah, I think they were the team to watch in intermediate last season, which maybe doesn't say that much, but like they were just really good. The problem was, I think, sort of in deep into those playoffs, they got beat out in sort of a weird fashion. I think they lost to like a Revenge or something, which wasn't expected because of them going, what was like 14-2 or something in the group part of that season, the main season, I guess. And then they just got like reverse swept in the semi or something. So they went into main, where I'd still say they're doing quite well, but definitely it could be a good, as you mentioned. I think honestly all teams, or most teams at least, have some good storylines coming into the season where they sort of either are on the up or need to sort of prove themselves as they come down a bit lower. And
yeah,
that's just great thing.
Yeah, I also think that one thing we've seen quite a lot in, I don't know, like it happens in CS in general, but mainly in our league, is that we see some teams just love to upset certain teams. And I feel like going into this division, we have the likes of Revenge, Scape, um, I guess you could say for the Win Esports as well, in the fact that they're still like on that upping stage. They're not at that solidified. They're a top team. They're at like a growing to be a good team and still got quite a lot to prove. So I feel like this is the perfect place for them to, maybe make some upsets and, have some score lines where we're like, well, that was unexpected, as we've had quite a few times in past seasons.
Yeah, you mentioned Revenge, and I obviously mentioned them in that upset with Blink. And I think they are quite a good team to have in sort of having a bit of diversity, as you mentioned, sort of them being maybe already considered quite underdog status, but I think we've seen them beat out some of the bigger teams, and now they won't really have any lower teams to disappoint against, maybe. So that's something for them. As soon as LS comes back as well, they've been playing with a stand-in for a while now. Not that, I think it was standing again.
What a doink.
What doink, that was it. Yeah, he's has been doing well, but LS, he came into that team after Crifts, whatever, and he's done just so well. So like as soon as they get him back, I think we are gonna see sort of, we're definitely gonna see some good stuff coming out of Revenge Camp as well. Right, gentlemen. Any other things you want to talk about? Just in general.
I'm genuine to hear what Ali's doing because I haven't heard a word from him.
I'm meshing people on my phone.
People, you say?
Yeah.
Is this a new team, people?
No.
Hmm.
Oh my god, guys, stop trying to give me a leak because it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
I have to take the proper route with this, and it means
This is
pen
why
to
we don't
paper.
have org owners on, by the way, guys. Just so you know.
Yeah,
So
we'll dig.
Yeah, you'll dig, but you
Good
won't
point.
get shit, okay? And you know it.
especially if you're one of those org owners that likes to talk about what's happening with their org all of the time behind the scenes.
No, I talk with Matt. I talk with Matt Stromers. You just happen to be there, okay?
because
Don't flatter yourself, please.
Because then we typically do have some things to go off of. I'm definitely
go
not.
on.
I'm not
Go on.
talking about just you,
Okay.
Ali.
Okay, come on. Hit me with some other stuff. We can actually talk about stuff then.
You want to
We'll
bring up
exchange
anything?
information. We'll exchange information. You tell me something about another org. I'll tell you something.
You mean Regnant?
What about Regnant?
Well, you said another org, and the one that I'd most reasonably have information on would be Regnant. No?
I mean, I'm not suggesting anything, Stromers.
Hmm.
But if you want to talk about Regnant, you can talk about Regnant. Go
if
ahead.
you want to talk about Vanix, you can talk about Vanix.
No.
So,
Okay.
right.
Oh, I hate this.
It's a tie then.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Is there anything in particular anybody wants to talk about? Because otherwise, I'll talk about I could talk about Big Academy for a moment.
Go on, please.
Because
Indulge.
I'm not sure. I don't think many people actually sort of know that roster very well because obviously there's Big, and I think they get overshadowed quite a lot. But recently, one of the players, Process, was actually a stand-in for Big.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and he was pretty damn good. I mean, I'm not too sure about how he fits in with the main roster that much. Oh, sorry, well, I say the main roster, the academy roster, his main roster. But in terms of raw skill, he was like one of the top fraggers in the server. Whether that's like you sometimes get times where with teams they add an extra player in or they swap a player out, and you get like a bit of a honeymoon period where it's sort of stuff just people start playing a bit more looser. I'm not sure if it's something to do with that, where like because he was replacing Xantares, who is like those are big boots to fill on Big for a game or two, but he did pretty well. I mean, yeah, he wasn't a dead weight. He was putting up numbers. So, I mean, this was in ESL Meisterschaft, by the way, the German league. So, yeah, it was. I mean, pretty good competition as well. It's not like he was against no namers. So, yeah, I mean, I think he could be one of the few players to really sort of show us something special in this league.
I think
Dan's given us a season 7 MVP nomination before the league started.
Before a bullet has been shot. We'll see how that reflects on you, Dan, after the season. By the way,
Yeah.
already
Yeah.
setting up
If Process is for some reason watching this, you better show up, big boy.
I bet Ali's just gonna talk about Lerox now before the season started as well. So that'll be a good
already has.
evening out of it. Yeah, I guess.
What do you mean?
Yeah. Hi,
Don't worry,
Ali.
Ali. It's
Go
fine.
back to sleep.
Yeah, you want to talk about the rocks?
Dan, you're not allowed to say go back to sleep. Everyone else is, but you're not.
Hang on,
I want to
why?
bring up a point.
I hate this.
Right, I'm going to bring up a point. Going off what Dan
We're
said,
so
I think
scattered.
we're seeing a lot of main teams in this season who
Yeah.
have already played each other, i.e.
Definitely,
Revenge
yeah,
versus
I was
Dr.
gonna-
Pepper.
For sure.
And I believe so this is the weird part, right? CEX on paper should beat Revenge.
Yep.
Yeah.
But Revenge beat Dr. Pepper,
Mm.
and Dr.
And
Pepper beat CEX.
Yep.
Dr. Pepper
So-
just sick.
Rock,
so
paper,
what-
scissors scenario.
What's happening there?
Rock, paper,
I don't-
scissors scenario for sure.
I
I mean,
know
was
it's
ju-
best of ones in it, so it's sort of
yeah. I
Yeah.
was gonna bring up as well, like, I think Big Academy have sort of proven that they're definitely, obviously their org is always gonna overshadow the team that they have, as you mentioned, Dan, but
Yeah.
I think they've proven that they're sort of over the level of sort of season 6, season 5 teams.
Yeah. I think they could have a good chance in Meister Shaft if the big wasn't there, but
by beating sort of, I think they beat Go Bananas most recently, which is that the new roster, which is sort of a blend of XTC and Go Bananas themselves. I think they beat Famous 5. I think they beaten another team like last season as well. You know, they're just a level above to what we've had before. But I think they're also going to have to prove that they can play against some of the advanced teams we have and some of the sort of internationally recognized teams too, like I don't know, CEX, Creamer Albertus, those types of teams.
Sorry, is this Dr. Pepper or
Big Academy?
Big? Yes, I think Big Academy. I think they're an academy roster, so
yeah,
and they're under one of the biggest orgs in CS. But yeah, I think this is exactly the right type of place they need to be, because like with so many of the teams we've spoken about before. No, I mean,
how can
yeah,
you be
okay.
biased?
Yeah, but I mean, I think I would like to see them against a Tricked or an Isuba and just see how they perform, in the sense that, German CS can be quite stubborn, that you have to really put the shift in to get even the slightest bit of rounds or kills. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how they can adapt playing against a bigger, more well, just a better team in general.
Right then. Anything about specific teams, or are we gonna round it out, boys?
From me, not anymore.
All right, last question then, Matt.
Yes.
HLTV question mark. Earlier.
Tell the team that we are talking to that you nearly leaked earlier to hurry their ass up, sign up, then we will talk to HLTV and see what comes of it.
Great. All right. With that being said, then I think we'll round it out there with a Danchan Smug and a laid-back Ali. Thank you for being on, Matt.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ali. First time. Thank you, Dan, as well, for not falling asleep this time, fixing your sleep schedule. Fantastic.
I mean, you say that as if I fell asleep during TCL.
Right.
You nearly did in the big one. You nearly did.
Nearly did. All right. Well, we'll see you back next week. And what's gonna happen then, Matt? Quick.
Oh yeah. Well, Stromus isn't here, so I might have to host. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine.
I'm not here. They'll talk about some shit. We'll see then. All right. See you, boys. Bye bye.